Alright, so doing weekly Hawkeye videos didn't really pan out, did it? You know, life happens, I got uni, I got Christmas, travel plans change, a bunch of stuff happens, so I'm sorry. But hey, we're back now, and now in one video, we're gonna talk about 3 episodes of Hawkeye. 2, 3, and 4. Isn't that exciting? And then I'm gonna miss the video next week again, so in 2 weeks, I'll talk about episodes 5 and 6. Awesome. Okay, let's jump into it. I just came in from outside, and it's freezing, and my lips are still kind of frozen, so I need to warm into enunciating my words. Anyway, spoilers for these episodes, and also their time codes down below. Let's start with episode...
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening?
Episode 2 was a bit disappointing for me, I'm not gonna lie. After a first episode that was solid, but a little predictable, but I forgave it because it was the premiere and they gotta set stuff up. The fact that episode 2 felt a bit like a filler episode, especially in a show that's only 6 episodes long, had me a bit confused and or not too pleased. Okay, first of all, stuff I liked. Clint and Kate's dynamic. A lot of fun in this episode. Yeah, maybe they do play a little bit too much into the Hawkeye is annoyed and doesn't really care, and Kate's kind of overenthusiastic and annoying, but generally speaking, they're quite fun together. Again, Haley Steinfeld's very charismatic, and I do enjoy Clint's kind of done with this vibe. I feel like Jeremy Renner plays that really well. The dog's still cute. There's that. I enjoyed how they explain Hawkeye's hearing loss. He's just like, yeah, it was probably one of the thousands of explosions and alien gunshots that have gone off by my head. I still like Evilly McEvilface. I mean, I know they're not making any attempt to hide that he's the villain, but at least watching this episode, it did leave me kind of wondering, what twist are they going to pull out of the bag here? If with this build-up, it's just very clear from the start who the villain is. But anyway, I still think he's pretty great in this. And that's it really. Most of the episode is fine, but I was just surprised with the lack of things really happening. Again, especially for a show that's only 6 episodes. You wouldn't think you'd need to have a filler episode. Like even little things, with this shot of Hawkeye going through the building and not finding the suit. Why did we need to see this extended shot of him not finding it, instead of maybe just him saying, yeah, I didn't find it, or a shorter shot, or something? It might seem like a nitpick, but it's stuff like this throughout the episode that almost feels like a student trying to get a word count up by adding pointless filler in. The LARP stuff was pretty funny. I again enjoyed Clint's God damn it, do I have to really do this attitude? But again, in an episode that already felt a bit weirdly empty of substance, I was like, okay, is this the main thing in this episode? Is this the LARPing episode? I'm fine with the show not being super gritty and being a bit more lighthearted and light on stakes. The main stake seemingly being, will Clint make it home on Christmas? That can be fun for a bit of a Christmas special. I'm not asking for universe-ending consequences here. So I'm not saying, oh my god, this episode need to have more intense death scenes and consequences and none of this stupid LARPing comedy fun. But there's a difference between that and again, having an episode kind of feel like half an episode where it feels like they just put in more footage for each scene to fill out the runtime. It was enjoyable enough, but a weirdly flat feeling episode for me. Wasn't crazy about this one.
A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight.
Episode 3 definitely picked up the pace more in terms of interesting story, in terms of action, which there was also very little of in episode 2, in terms of Easter eggs. Not that the show needs to have action and Easter eggs to be exciting necessarily, but this one left me with much more to talk about and think about. The action sequence in the car was hands down the best thing about the show so far. It was fun, had some creative use of Hawkeye weaponry, which I was hoping we'd see in the show, with his various comic booky trick arrows, fun banter in between. It was exactly the kind of thing I was hoping we'd get from the show. In general, this episode just felt tighter and more planned, with things feeling more intentionally paced than the last one, which made everything, such as the comedy, work better. The funny moments between Clint and Kate were really good in this one. In terms of Easter eggs, the Pym arrow was a really fun touch. That's a fun way of connecting this to the MCU and reminding us it's part of this universe without also cutting too deep, where it would alienate more casual fans. And it's just a great, exciting moment in the action sequence. We also get the Hawkeye costume nod, very X-Men 1, where you mention the comic book costume and go, yeah, that looked pretty silly, wouldn't it?
You actually go outside in these things? What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
It was pretty funny though. Again, Jeremy Renner's good at these over-it reactions. And also, I think this is a setup for him getting a more comic-accurate costume in a future episode. Probably not the costume, but, something more purple. And then the big one, we are clearly getting Kingpin by the end of this. I'm writing this section before episode 4 comes out, by the way, so maybe he's already in it. I mean, that's definitely Kingpin. Look at the suit, and the hand, and the evil D'Onofrio chuckle. And man, is that exciting. Again, a non-MCU superfan who didn't watch Daredevil will definitely end up being like, okay, when that's treated as a big reveal, but for those fans who watched and loved Daredevil and believe Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is one of the best villain performances in the entire MCU, this is pretty damn exciting. For a few reasons, actually. One, it means Daredevil is officially canon in the MCU, which it kind of wasn't before. Or you could say it's now in the cinematic part of the MCU. And we're also getting Charlie Cox back, it's been confirmed, which is just so damn exciting. Again, one of the best MCU performances. Such a great character, whether it's in some supporting role interacting with other MCU characters, which would be amazing to see, or if it's even more episodes of Daredevil itself. I'm just excited. With the Spider-Man crossing over and maybe the X-Men crossing over, we're getting an MCU Fantastic Four film, and now the Netflix characters are coming back and into the proper MCU. Every superhero movie nerd fantasy is coming true. Nothing is impossible with the MCU these days. Honestly, not even kidding. Don't be surprised if we see a Marvel-DC crossover sometime in the next 10 years. I know it sounds crazy, but at a certain point in time, even seeing the character of Spider-Man at all in the MCU seemed crazy. And look where we are now. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, went off on a bit of a tangent there. This also means the Netflix shows in general could come back, or at the very least the characters from them, which is very exciting given that those are some of the best MCU characters period, and seeing them in the larger MCU would be so cool. And yeah, let's just keep it to what we're getting now. Seeing more Kingpin, and maybe even a Kingpin versus Hawkeye fight. That'd be incredible. So hey, that has me super excited. In case you can tell, I feel like I've said the word excited like 1,000 times at this point. And the part of the story that came from is the Echo storyline, which was okay, I'd say, although it kind of felt a bit at odds with the rest of the show. Like, it takes a good chunk of this episode, but instead of feeling like it's developing a really cool character for this show, it does feel more like they're setting her up for her own spin-off, which I wasn't really a fan of. Like, basically a commercial for the next show dropped in here. I don't know, I think it's because the rest of the show is so goofy and focused on the Clint and Kate dynamic and relationship, and will he make it home for Christmas, and all this stuff, that this random character backstory dropped in halfway through the show for a big chunk of the episode feels a bit out of place. I guess it depends on how they use her for the rest of the show. But if she and her storyline aren't that big of a piece of it, then this complaint will be more intense. That sounds like some weird threat. I just mean it'll feel more like an out-of-place setup for a spinoff. Plus, it didn't help that to me the whole thing felt pretty generic. Another kid learning martial arts and becoming a badass, and then their parents die at the hands of the hero and they want revenge, etc, etc. She seems like a cool enough character, and the representation with a deaf MCU character is of course cool to see, like we saw in Eternals. But overall, the way that storyline was worked into the episode felt a bit weird to me. Anyway, overall, pretty fun episode, though it wasn't perfect. Quick reminder here that if you're enjoying this video, drop a like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on Hawkeye episodes 2, 3, and 4 down below. Which episodes have been your favorite so far? Also afterwards, check out my podcast, The Poorly Planned Podcast. Alright, back to the video.
Walking in a winter wonderland.
Alright, and then we come to episode 4, which was definitely the best episode so far, and just was a really good episode in general in my opinion, if not for the very end. But generally speaking, this episode was what I was hoping we'd get from the Hawkeye show, more so than the others have been. It was well-paced, exciting, had some fun mystery and intrigue, it was funny, Christmassy, actually had a little bit of emotion in there, some fun action. It was pretty great. My main takeaway from this episode was that I finally had a moment where I really cared about these characters, and I kind of connected with them. In the previous episodes, while they had been fun together, I didn't really have an investment in Clint and Kate beyond that I already like Clint from the movies, and him and Kate are pretty fun together. In this one, their whole fun Christmas montage was really delightful and felt like a natural, not forced building of a relationship between them, and it got me to care more about them as characters and their relationship. Plus, it was just a lot of fun. And then following that up with a more emotional opening up from Clint could have ended up being a bit goofy, but it wasn't at all, and actually made that moment hit more home than any other similar moment in the show so far. I actually think it's really interesting the way they're exploring Hawkeye's character more here, through the loss of Natasha, and also his own pretty dark life, which we haven't really gotten a sense of in the MCU. In the MCU, he's come across more as an agent for S.H.I.E.L.D., an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., one could say. Not so much as a cold-blooded assassin or killer, so to explore that idea more through his Ronin phase, the fact that when his family died, he regressed to the brutal killer he was before he was killing aliens and robots, and he just decided to take out criminals. Also, without having the Avengers to push him in a good direction, he just brutally murdered bad guys on a lower level. That's a pretty fascinating way to connect him to the past that we haven't really seen that much of. How he has to live with that, move past it, how it affects his current life, all very interesting to explore. And the loss of Natasha, they've mentioned it throughout the show, but when he was talking about it here, I guess something about Jeremy Renner's performance in the scene made it have much more of an impact than it had before for me. And I really believed more so that, damn, this guy really lost his best friend, and that would mess you up. Add on to that the underlying idea that he basically had to lose his best friend to get his family back. That's dark. You would expect these kinds of themes being explored in a goofy Christmas show to feel really tonally out of place, but the way they did it here actually worked really well. And again, him and Kate having Christmassy vibes together because he couldn't be with his family, just very wholesome. Made me smile. The LARPing group coming back was pretty fun. They are pretty casual about showing just random people their secret safe house, but whatever. And the whole final mission was quite enjoyable. The Rolex, who does the Rolex belong to? I thought it was one of Tony Stark's Iron Man watches, but when he said that it's tied to someone's identity, that sort of rules that out. I've seen theories that it's Nick Fury's.
Tick-tock, motherfucker!
It's Daredevil's. One big one is that it's his wife's, and she actually was a superhero who has appeared in the comics. Mockingbird, I think. I don't know much about that, but given the capacity we've seen his wife in the show, that wouldn't surprise me that much. If that was the big twist at the end, he shows up back and she's like, did you get the watch? And he's like, yes, I got your watch. And then it pans over to like a costume in a closet or something. Plus, spin-off opportunity, you know, they're all about that. But hey, I am intrigued. Good mystery setup. The action sequence with Echo and Yelena was pretty solid. And yeah, big cameo. Yelena's here, as expected. I sort of forgot she was going to be in this, not gonna lie. So I was thinking, who is this mysterious assassin person? But then when I saw the electricity shooty thing, I was like, ah, right. Post-credit scenes and all that. Fun crossover, pretty cool tie-in. Fun use of the MCU's ability to cross things over. We'll probably get some development on the whole Julia Louis-Dreyfus storyline by the end of this as well. Yeah, I'm curious to see what capacity she plays in the rest of the show. There isn't much show left for her to be in, so I'm curious to see how they utilize her. Though, as I've said, I suspect it'll be, I'm here to kill you because you killed my sister. Wait, you didn't kill my sister? Okay, let's team up and be best friends. That kind of deal. They punch each other for a bit and then they're mates, you know? But a cool crossover nonetheless. I'm looking forward to seeing Kate and Yelena maybe interacting more. I can see that being quite a lot of fun. My only complaint with the episode really is the ending, where we get the most cliche moment of any story. The two unlikely partners who didn't really get along at first started to bond, but now have a fight and split up, and then are going to get back together at the end and team up for the big finale. It makes sense in the story. Like, logically, it's not nonsensical, but it's so damn cliche and boring and predictable, and I don't get why we have to do this. I was actually going to praise the show for not doing that earlier in the episode. I thought when she came in with all the Christmas stuff, Clint, in his usual grumpy state, was going to go, I want to be with my family, and we're not a real family, and blah blah blah, and Kate would get really hurt. And I appreciated that they didn't do that. But then they throw that, we're not actually partners thing at the end, and it just feels so unnecessary. Like, everyone watching knows where this is going. Why? But hey, in general, quite a good episode. Fun, engaging, well-paced, had some emotion, exciting crossover, and questions to be answered. Pretty much what you want from an MCU Disney Plus episode, or just a good episode of a show in general. My podcast co-host Freddie pointed out the pretty valid point that if this wasn't an MCU show, you probably wouldn't care that much about it. And I can kind of see that with the first few episodes. They were a little, shall we say, slow. And this episode, and to a lesser extent episode 3, I felt were more just good episodes on their own that didn't necessarily need that MCU boost, and that was just kind of like a fun add-on, you know? Good episode, is my point. Looking forward to seeing how things wrap up over the next 2 weeks. So, those are my thoughts on episodes 2, 3, and 4 of Hawkeye. Video on episodes 5 and 6 will be coming after the finale. What did you think of these episodes? And what do you think will happen in the final 2? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram and Twitter at BHL_Hudson, my TikTok at BHLHudson, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.